A lot of cards in here, but what's important are the counterspells. Born Upon a Wind. Yeah, sure. Sure, bro. Show and tell. You're tapped out. Counterspell. You saw that one, though. You saw that. You knew that was gonna happen. Wow, poor you. Now I even get to put my counterspell back on top. Thank you. Appreciate it. Take action. And they're out. Hello everyone. Your favorite self-insert Teferi is back. I'm the control guy, and yeah, another video for you guys. Again, as always, thank you so much for all the support. Really appreciate it. Let's see what we do today. Also, before I get into the video, actually, Modern Horizons 3 is right around the corner, and it's going to be fully available on Arena. I'm going to assume most of the cards are going to get instantly banned in low power formats like Historic. But Timeless has this one rule that every card in Arena is legal in Timeless. So, us control players, we're going to get saved. We're going to have Solitude and Subtlety on Arena. It's going to be great. But yeah, I might comment on the implications of Subtlety and Solitude, but we'll see. Also, if you guys are interested in like just a full review of the set and what cards I think are going to be good in control, what cards I think are going to be bad, and specifically Timeless control, because on YouTube I see a lot of like set reviews and like aspiring spikes takes on cards and whatever, right? But no one really focuses on Timeless control, so I could do that. I'm happy to do that. Let me know, maybe in the comments. Like, if I see one comment saying, yes, I would like that, I will do a video. Might not be, like, the best animations and the best stuff. Might just be a damn PowerPoint presentation, but hey, you never know. But yeah, anyway, let's get into the video. Let me show you guys what I've cooked up today for you guys. So, for today's deck, if anyone might remember, I have a video on the channel where I lose every single game with blue-white control to aggro. I can't let that slide, so here we are with a fully revised version of my original blue-white control list. Actually, fun fact, the base for this list wasn't actually the list I played in that video. The list I played in that video was just what I quickly slapped together once I got access to the OTJ cards. This is the deck I was playing before OTJ properly upgraded and worked on. So, what we got here? So, first of all, familiar faces, mana drain into the One Ring, Teferi, Lórien Revealed. This is still the plan. This is still the core strategy here. Still the plan of the deck. Yeah, this is still the core strategy. This is the plan of the deck. This is what we're trying to do. This is how we can win the game fast. Because as we don't have High Noon, which is by the way the deck I still mainly play, that I have to admit the control deck I play mainly right now is still High Noon, and I still play Dimir Jace as well. But this deck is also really powerful, and I play it every now and then. It's just, there's no reason to keep switching decks when you're playing ranked. It's better to get very consistent with one deck. But yeah, just for you guys, I want to have a different deck, kind of. But yeah, anyway, back to the deck. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Mana drain into the One Ring, Teferi, Lórien Revealed. Just, that's it. That's what this deck does, and then we have to somehow stay alive. So, again, let's start with the elephant in the room. The first deck, the first blue-white deck I showed on the channel got destroyed by aggro. And I already had a countermeasure for aggro before, but because of OTJ and just putting OTJ cards into my decks, I kind of cut it. My answer to aggro in Timeless at the moment is Sunset Revelry. I know there's a card called Light of Hope that is similar, but Sunset Revelry is just, it's just so good against aggro. Like, you gain 4 life, more often than not, you make 2 1/1s, and if for some reason they have more cards in hand, it even cantrips, I'd be very happy if this just gained 4 life. The 1/1s are super clutch. The 1/1s come in super clutch. They block Ragavan, they block a non-delirious Dragon's Rage Channeler, they block Orcish Bowmasters. They eat removal spells. They just the 1/1s are amazing. And the reason why this card is good and Light of Hope I don't usually play is that Light of Hope has the +1/+1 counter mode. That's not, you will rarely find a use for that in this deck. The only creature we have access to in this entire deck is Kaheera. So you're rarely going to use that mode. So it's already become only a 2-mode spell. Me personally, I prefer the option of in a deck where this card doesn't matter, where they have more cards than you just draw a card and gain 4 life sometimes. It just becomes a kind of variable version of what's that card called? Revitalize. So yeah, Sunset Revelry, amazing card in aggro. With Mystic Sanctuary, you can loop it. You can just put it back on top and gain more life. But yeah, speaking of Mystic Sanctuary, only 2 copies. I have been a big complainer of the fact that Mystic Sanctuary warps your control mana base. It makes you unable to run tech lands because you have to run Mystic Sanctuary because it's just too good. So this deck kind of has a similar problem, but I decided because we are ramping into the One Ring and Teferi, we have permanents that are really good, so we don't need to rely on our spells so much. So yeah, we have permanents, so we don't need to rely on our spells looping to win the game in the late game or to get ahead of our opponents. We don't have to loop spells as much. Obviously, that has its downsides. Like as I just mentioned, you can now only loop Sunset Revelry twice instead of like 4 times. But I think we should be okay. If we, like, against aggro, pretty much you cast 2 Sunset Revelries and they can't win anymore if you stabilize correctly. Okay, what else? We are, because of the Mystic Sanctuary cut down, we are allowed to run more utility lands, and I have 2 utility lands in the deck. One of them being Horde of the Storm Giants. A creature in the mana base, just a beater that just kills people quickly. This pretty much always kills a timeless player in 2 hits. Like, timeless players will usually like hurt themselves down to 14 life because of their mana base and whatnot. So this kills very quickly in timeless. And yeah, I think having this in the mana base as a one-off is okay. It's good. I don't love it in timeless because it's not an island. Again, it's blue at least, and it can enter untapped, but to me this is a bit weird. Solitude will solve this problem. Once we get Solitude in timeless, we will have creatures in the late game that are also a removal spell in the early game. It's going to be amazing once we have Solitude. But for now, Horde of the Storm Giant just as an additional win con, because at the moment we really only have Kaheera and Teferi Emblem to win the game. So yeah, and I guess you can beat down with Sunset Revelry 1/1s, which would require them to have had a creature before you and you to then remove that creature to then get through. But oh well. And yeah, so one of our utility lands is Horde of the Storm Giants, and our second utility land is Indatha Triome, which is a basic plains in this deck, but it allows Leyline Binding. So what you can do is, because Leyline Binding is a 1-mana remove anything spell, we don't have to run Get Lost and Path to Exile. We don't have to run those because we have Leyline Binding as our secondary removal spell to source the Plowshares. Leyline Binding can beat Show and Tell. If you have a Teferi down, they can't even use Born Upon a Wind to win the game in response to the trigger. So very simple story. They Show and Tell, you counter it, they Veil of Summer, their Show and Tell resolves, they put in Omniscience, you put in Leyline Binding, and the Leyline Binding trigger will remove the Omniscience before they can cast a sorcery. So they can't cast an Atraxa. They can cast a Dig Through Time in response, but they can't cast like an Atraxa because this will exile the Omniscience. This also is just a removal spell for Blood Moon, for example. If you feel like they might Blood Moon you, you can either fetch your planes so that you can cast Leyline Binding for white and 3 reds, because the white and the red will actually count towards the domain, so this will cost 2 less to cast, so it will cost 3 and a white. So you can remove a Blood Moon for 4 mana, or if you have 4 mana in play but not the planes, you can float a white mana off your white sources and then cast this at flash speed. So, answer the Blood Moon, this also can beat a Necropotent, kill a Necropotent, this can kill Planeswalkers. That's why I run this. It's just, exiling any non-permanent is really good. So yeah, that's why we run this. As for our sweepers, we have Supreme Verdict, 3 temporary lockdowns, and a Divine Purge. This could really just be the 4th temporary lockdown, but Divine Purge is just, you can cast it with Flash of a small Teferi. It's just a good spell. I think I just don't like Divine Purge enough, and in this deck we don't have small permanents, so it doesn't matter. So you might as well run this. Divine Purge exiles your Kaheera, which can come up, but at that point it shouldn't really be like if you're at the point where you have to Divine Purge with a Kaheera on the battlefield, then exiling your own Kaheera shouldn't really matter anymore because you're either already winning or already losing. But yeah, and yeah, last but not least, to you guys who are very astute, you will have seen 61 cards out of 60. Yes, I was cracking my head open. This deck, like, I was building it, I was like, how do I beat every deck in the format? And Mill just was... Mill is that annoying deck that it's not very popular, but when they do play it and they get you, they get you. So I put a Gaia's Blessing in. Actually castable in this deck, funny enough, off of Indatha Triome, because Indatha makes green. You can actually cast this if you draw it. But this is only in the deck for Mill, and I just put this in as the 61st card. This is a fully functional deck without this card, but I just put this in as an extra piece of cardboard for Mill. And sometimes you'll draw it. It obviously messes up the math minusculely, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. We have, hold on. We have 21 lands and 3 Lórien Revealed. I believe for Timeless that is a lot of lands, so it's not like we're going to draw this instead of a land. What I actually would cut for it, I guess, is the 3rd Lockdown or the 1st Divine Purge, if you really want to have 60 cards. But I found that having an extra sweeper is just necessary, almost. So I just put this in as a 61st card. So yeah, that's the deck. Yeah, so play patterns with this deck. If you have enough lands in hand, you want to fetch Indatha Triome. Also, sorry, real quick, before I get into play patterns, mana base wise, Misty Rainforest. The forest is a big addition. They actually released the enemy colored fetches, which is amazing. Misty Rainforest would have been a Prismatic Vista. Prismatic Vista can fetch island and plains. Misty can't fetch plains, but Misty fetches every land in the deck, which is that's so good. Misty fetches Indatha because it's green, and Polluted also fetches Indatha. So every fetch land in our deck can fetch Indatha, which is why, by the way, why I'm running Indatha Triome as the Triome enabler, because all of our fetchers can fetch it. So yeah, play patterns is all saying, if you have 3 lands, you can fetch Indatha first. Otherwise, you usually want to fetch a Meticulous Archive first. My like epiphany I had was in this deck you don't have to force yourself into trying to set up domain. It's totally fine to have a blue-white land and then sometime later in the game fetch Indatha and make binding cost 2 mana. That's absolutely fine. When binding is just if binding just becomes get lost but they don't get map tokens, that's totally fine. So you can make this cost 1 mana on turn 2. You go fetch Triome into fetch Thundering Falls and Surveil, and that's a domain off of the Triome. So you can do it, but I think you still just mulligan to source the Plowshares in the current format. And yeah, apart from that, against Mill, you counter exile effects, and you just try to mana drain it to Teferi and win the game. It's that simple. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the deck tech. I'll see you guys in the wrap-up, and let's get into the games. Alright, so we have 2 One Rings. We go first. 2 One Rings, a fetch land, a removal spell, and a mana drain. Keep. We're playing against Allura's strategy. Start with Misty Rainforest. So here, I'm not going to fetch for domain, I don't think. I think I'm going to fetch for selection, which means I'm going to get a Meticulous Archive, because I do want to hit more land drops. Stitcher Supplier. Okay, so they're likely just playing the Underworld Breach deck. Yep. That is a Tendrils of Agony. They are playing the Underworld Breach deck. Meticulous Archive. Could have gotten Thundering Falls, but I think I'll just get Archive. They draw a card. I'm gonna shock in here. You never know. I don't want to get, like... If they Thoughtseize me, I think I might let it resolve, but... Actually, no, I won't, because any spell I counter here, that's me 1 ring a turn early. Or are they just gonna hold up Diabolic Intent? That's pretty good for me. Okay, so let the trigger resolve first, so they think they have to search for something, and then we counter this. Now we get to One Ring. That's pretty cool. The One Ring. Gain control. Not gain control, gain protection. And I will play a tap land. Right. Stitch Supplier. They get to mill. And they get to sacrifice the Stitch Supplier, mill even more. Almost into the grave, and then they buy Lurrus. Okay. Take one from the One Ring. I'm gonna draw some cards first, and then Brainstorm. Okay, are we gonna miss our land drop here? No, we're not. We get the Indatha Triome. Okay, Temporary Lockdown is a pretty good board wipe against them. Supreme Verdict is pretty slow. I'm gonna put away the 2 board wipes because we can't interact it. We can't use them at insp anyway, and we're just gonna redraw them. Play the Indatha Triome. Leyline Binding now costs 2 mana, as I mentioned in the deck tech. That's good enough for me. We don't have to discard. I will probably just counter Lurrus here if they cast Lurrus. Duress me. They cannot stop me from countering their spell here, so I'm just gonna let the Duress resolve. I'm drawing 3 cards off the One Ring anyway next turn. They discard a Counterspell. Stitch a Supplier. That is fine, I think. They get to make 2 mana off of this, but I don't really mind. Or not. They could potentially Bowmaster me, but I think I will exile the Stitch Supplier. I need to get rid of the cards in my hand anyway. And if they Bowmaster, actually, I just have another removal spell, so I'm fine. That is 3 Bowmasters in the bin already? No, 2. 1, 2 Bowmasters in the bin. Okay. Yeah. Draw some cards. Somehow missing land drops. Don't know how, but we're somehow missing land drops here. That is okay. We have 9 cards in hand. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to discard. I'm gonna discard, I don't know if I want to discard the ring or if I want to... Maybe I should have re-ringed, but nah. I think I discard temporary... Oh, no. Go to discard. Discard temporary lockdown and... Maybe Leyline Binding? No. Temporary lockdown and... Swords? Verdict? I guess I can discard Verdict. I don't know. I don't know. Just missing lands is a little awkward. We also only have 1 counterspell up here. We don't have 2 counterspells up because of the Indatha. It's not blue. That's the only downside, obviously, of running Indatha Triome. It's a basic plaint, so we don't have blue up here, unfortunately. Underworld Breach. Well, I just don't have to let that resolve, so no, I'm good, thank you. And then I can't dig through time here because of the thing, but that's okay. Let's see. Just 3 life, up an island, nice. So draw some cards. Oh, now we find land. There we go. I think I will just play the island for less pain. And I don't think I need I don't need more ring triggers, so I'm actually going to do this. I'm gonna cast Teferi and bounce my One Ring back to my hand. Yep. And then gonna go to discard. Gonna have to discard a bunch of cards, but that's okay. Discard land. I think I'm gonna keep the hole, right? Nah. Do I want to keep the hole? Nah. Discard that, and I think I discard one of the One Rings. I don't need 2, and I can also discard a Lórien Revealed. Yeah, there we go. Just sculpt our hand. The One Ring just being the One Ring. They cast Lurrus. Lurrus gets mana drained. Alright. Draw a card. There we go. That's big Teferi. Like, the One Ring kind of got us through the mid game. We now pivot onto Teferi as our win condition. And actually, I'm going to dig through time here because I want to I'm not going to exile the hole because I can still reshuffle it back into my library. I'm going to exile some of these cards that, yeah, the One Ring can go. And I suppose I've used up a lot of counterspells, to be fair, so maybe I won't find one here. I'm trying to find a counterspell. That's basically what I'm doing. Oh, mana drain. And another one. I think I keep 2 mana drains. I'm allowed to hit a land drop, actually. I'd rather leave 1 mana drain in the deck. Hit a land drop. Put a counterspell on top, actually. This is marginal as hell, but the counterspell on top is because in case they have a Thoughtseize into a surgical extraction, I don't want to... I want to let them Thoughtseize me, but then not lose because surgical exiles both mana drains. So that's why I put a counterspell on top instead of a mana drain. And I think we're at the point where I'm totally happy just countering a Dark Ritual. I want them to not be in the game until Teferi ultimates, and they're currently stuck on lands. Gamble is totally fine. That draws a card at random, and they only have a colorless mana source at the moment. I don't know if they drew that Diabolic Intent or played it, but whatever. Here I'm able to store a card with Teferi, play Flooded Strand, plus... I guess I'm allowed to dig through time. Even though that makes me go to discard. Nah, I don't have to. Summon 0. I don't have to dig through time. I can just hold up Counterspell. No, Dark Ritual. Again, I think I'm at the point where I counter Dark Ritual, but what could they even have? They don't... No, I'm letting Dark Ritual resolve here. You can have that. Underworld Breach, that just gets counted. Nope. I'm good, thank you. And if they somehow have something else here, yeah, I would have just Memory Deluged. Only 1 Mystic Sanctuary in the deck, but that should cut it here, I think. Teferi's at 6. Put Mana Drain back on top. Take action. Draw a card. Get Mana Drain mana. Draw another card. Play a land. Get One Ring Protection, just because I can. I'm not even going to draw off this One Ring. I'm just going to get a... Actually, I can. I'm allowed to. I'm allowed to draw off it, but I don't think I will, honestly. I don't have to. I'm just going to get some... Get the protection. No, they can't Thoughtseize me. That's fine. It's going to get exiled. Like, I was looking for a target for my Source of Plowshares anyway. They can't respond to this because... They can sacrifice it, but they can't do anything with the mana. Another Leyline Binding. Here I'm going to draw a card. Then I'm going to bounce the One Ring back to my hand with Teferi. Draw another card. Oh, Sunset Revelry. And then I'm just going to re-ring. Get protection again. And now I get to basically repeat this every other turn. But now I'm exiling cards with Teferi from next turn. And I drew another counterspell. So this game's over. This game is over. I don't see a way they could possibly come back into this game. Discard a Leyline Binding because I know they have it. Sure. You can have a Dragon's Rage Chandler. The only thing I would have counted there is like a removal spell onto my Teferi. I don't lose any life because of that. And now basically the only way they could win is by decking me. And here comes the cool alternate win condition of Gaea's Blessing with Brainstorm. If I draw a Brainstorm and a Gaea's Blessing, I will be able to put the Gaea's Blessing on top of my library. Might as well make some blockers, I guess. I'll be able to put the Gaea's Blessing back on top of my library and play this Thundering Falls. And then it shuffles my entire graveyard back into my library. And then I just can't deck. So yeah. That's also why I haven't fetched the archive yet. The Meticulous Archive. I'm just gonna draw a card. I should have done this earlier. I might as well exile this. Like, just because I can. Yep. I should have done this way earlier. I don't know why I didn't, but at this point, like, I can make mistakes. There's no way they come back from this. They're even decking too. They actually have less cards in the deck than me. If I just don't draw cards, they're gonna start losing the game. Sure, you can look at the top card of my deck. Thoughtseize. I don't even have to let that resolve. Because I can. Underworld Breach. Yeah, nice try. Nice try, man. Nice try, nice try. I can see it's GG. Alright, that game was longer than it should have been. I think they just had the Underworld Breach in hand for a long time, and they thought they can potentially still win because obviously they have Dark Ritual. They have everything they need in the graveyard. This deck wins by just Underworld Breaching and just flashing back Dark Rituals until they can tendrils you. So, in theory, they could have won if I didn't have 2 layers of protection. And honestly, if I only had the if I only had 1 counterspell and I let that Dorsey's resolve and they take it, it's scary, but thanks to Leyline Binding, in response to their first Dark Ritual, I just Leyline Binding the Underworld Breach, and then they cannot cast sorceries anymore, so they can only flashback Dark Rituals and make a bunch of mana, but their hand is empty. So yeah. Okay. So I go first against another Lure strategy. This hand has lands, removal, and Brainstorm and a counterspell. Keep. Play land, pass the turn. Hello. Mono red, huh? Kaheera. So when it attacks, you exile the top card. Is this worth killing? I think I will. I think I will kill this because I have Lórien Revealed, so I do have lands functionally. I'm just gonna kill it. Leyline Binding is pretty nice. I'm gonna no, I'm not gonna Brainstorm actually because I'm allowed to. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna fetch. Now, do I fetch Shock or do I fetch an Island? I think I fetch Island. I can always Shock in with Lórien Revealed if I need to. See what they do here. Tap land into nothing. Okay. I'm allowed to Brainstorm Lórien Revealed here. Cool little way to shuffle your Brainstorm. Because they don't have Bowmaster, right? Wow, that was pretty horrible. I think these two both go back, or does Teferi go? No, Teferi could still hit off of a mana drain. I think... Yeah, I think I just send back both of these. I mean, the lockdown was okay. It was an okay draw. Cycle this, shuffle those away. They have like a shock or lightning bolt effect. Yep, play with fire, that's okay. 2 damage, not the end of the world. They kept on top though, scary. I'm gonna take this because I need double white. I don't have to play it though. Just play this. Yeah, this gives away information, but I don't want to shock in there. And I don't also want to play it tapped just in case. Because now this allows me to get Leyline Binding if I need to. I can get a Surveil Land if I want to. I just have so many options of doing this. It's just better. See what they try to do here. If they try to resolve a 3-drop, I'll mana drain it. That's a 3-drop. That means I get Teferi next turn. That's nice. Pass. My turn. And I think I do get the Triome here. I think I do get the Triome here. Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten the Triome. Because if I didn't get the Triome, I could have gotten a Mystic Sanctuary, put back Mana Drain, and then played Teferi. But I suppose I didn't do that. It's okay though. I could Surveil Land before I draw. And I can even do that off of the red Surveil Land so that Binding costs 1. Surveil for 1 ring against Burn. I'm in. Right. Next. Representing all 5 colors of magic. Alright. No counter magic is a little bit scary, but it's okay. Oh, Ragavan. Nice try. So, unfortunately for them, they don't even get to, like, spectacle a card here. This just gets countered. The 1 ring is good against Burn for the protection, but it can be a bit scary at times. However, I drew a counterspell because it ticks up, right, and does damage to you. but I drew a counterspell, so it just doesn't matter. None of it matters! Alright, let's draw off the One Ring, see if we can find like a source of Plowshares. We do not, so we play this tapped. Untap 2 lands. Have a counterspell ready for whatever they try. Roiling Vortex, you can't gain life. I will be just counterspelling that, I believe. Ouch, take 1. Draw off Teferi. Draw off the One Ring. Then draw off Brainstorm. Somehow almost missed my land drops. I will put Lockdown and Narset on top, because I have a second Lockdown right here, I think. And then I will put Lockdown above, mill the Lockdown, and cast the Sunset Revelry for life. Hold up double Counterspell with the Teferi. Pretty good. They're pretty much locked out of the game here. I don't think they have a good way of coming back into this, because I just counter everything they do until I get Teferi Emblem and then exile their lands. I will not be countering a Bump in the Night though, I don't think. Although this could set them back a whole turn, but it's only 3 down. No, I'm not going to counter this. They can attempt to cast a Spectacle card, which I will then mana drain. There we go. We might have another one, I don't know. Nope, land. Good that I didn't counter the burn spell, because they would have just played this. I'm going to counter this too, because it's damage, and they don't get it back. Ouch. And I'm at 8 life with a One Ring ticking up. Draw off Teferi. I could tuck the One Ring with Teferi, by the way. I know I can do that, but I'm not at the point where I'm so scared of my One Ring yet that I want to do that, because I do have good cards in the deck that I can... Yeah, I do have like my Teferis, I have my life gain in the deck. I'm not so scared of my One Ring yet that I'm good that I'd want to... I'm doing this only to use the mana, by the way. Let's exile 5 cards. Blue, colorless. There's a Teferi. So next turn, we're gonna take 3 off the One Ring, but that's fine. Next turn, we are able to cast another Sunset Revelry, and then we'll be able to... we are just gonna exile all of their lands next turn. Like, it's not gonna be fun to watch. It's not gonna be nice to watch. Bye. Yeah, so again, this is what the first control deck was trying to do. You mana drain a 3-drop, you cast Teferi or the One Ring, you win the game. Because Teferi and the One Ring will carry you through the mid game. The One Ring just drawing... The One Ring drawing 6 cards for the cost of 3 life is so stupid. It's really good. And obviously the protection on that 1 turn is also really relevant. Teferi, if you get an early Teferi, early enough for them to not be able to answer it, Teferi will now emblem. On my next turn, Teferi emblems. I get the Teferi emblem. Then I draw 4 cards, exile every single land of theirs, play my Teferi, bounce the One Ring back to my hand, and gain protection over everything again. So yeah, with 11 cards in hand. So it's not very easy to win against that. And as I showed you guys in the deck tech, I was able to cast a couple Sunset Revelries, and this card just domes Burn. Like, Burn and Aggro just struggle hard against this card when they have to spend 3 mana at times to deal 3 damage, and I can just gain 4 life for 2 mana. It's just too good. And the reason why Revelry is so good, in my opinion, because there are cards that are the same price and gain you 6 life, but that's all they do. Revelry also makes 1/1s and also can draw a card. That's why Revelry is so good. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next game. Alright, opponent goes first. We have the One Ring of Counterspell board where I ban Sunset Revelry. So this hand is not horrible, but it's really slow. I definitely would mulligan this against Azorius, but I don't see a companion of our opponent, so I think I'm gonna keep it, but it is risky. Blue-black Surveil Land. Yep, that, this is likely show and tell. More lands? I think I'm gonna put this in the graveyard. This is probably show and tell. Get kept on top, that's scary as hell. No play. Interesting. Keep that. More lands? Nope. Don't need more of those. Alright. Land. Demonic Tutor. I'm gonna counter this. This time I'm gonna counter Demonic Tutor because Demonic Tutor here could get like a Veil of Summer and I don't want to have... I usually let Demonic Tutor resolve, but that time specifically I'm gonna counter it because I didn't want to let them... And here I think I'm gonna get a Mystic Sanctuary and put Counterspell back on top. I countered Demonic Tutor there because they have 5 cards in hand in the Demonic Tutoring. Chances are they have either Omniscience, Atraxa, or Show and Tell in hand already. So they're probably not going for a combo piece, they're probably going for protection. And I want them to have no protection for their combo. I want them to have to ram their combo into a Counterspell. Okay. Next turn I get to pass the One Ring. They see a Counterspell now, so now they have to go for a really long-winded win, essentially. I don't think I'm allowed to cast the One Ring though, because they've seen they know I have a Counterspell, so they're gonna somehow play around it. They might go for like a double protected win. They might have the win in hand, but know they don't beat a Counterspell, and assume I have a second one. This is like the layers game, right? If I cast the One Ring now, I essentially can't lose the game if they don't go for it. I think I'm taking the risk. I think I want to deploy this One Ring. I think I want to deploy this One Ring. It's really risky, but I think I want to do it. Because if they... I could potentially also draw into... a Leyline Binding. That's also not impossible, so I'm going to go for this. Pass the turn. Very nice. Very nice, okay. So, I'm very far ahead now. I'm very, very far ahead now. Oh, and the Leyline Binding. Nice. Nothing in there really that I want. 6 cards in hand. I can draw on end step, that way, on their end step, so that way I don't have to lose any cards here. Even though I'm allowed to discard Supreme Verdict, the card does basically nothing in the matchup. Alright, my turn. I'm gonna fetch. Draw 2 cards. More lands. My turn. Brainstorm would be nice. Good. Oh, they're the Mystic Sanctuary version. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. That would explain why they've not really done much this game. I'm gonna have to go to discard here, but I'm allowed to just discard a fetch land. I'm pretty sure I only have one more fetchable land in the deck. So, discard a fetch land. I don't even have to draw off the One Ring, but I think I will one more time. I'll draw off the One Ring one more time. I should have fetched first. Oopsie. Never punished. I don't have any more Surveil lands in my deck. I can cast Gaia's Blessing, I suppose. I suppose I can cast Gaia's Blessing. Fetch my last land. I could. I guess I will in the late game. I'm gonna draw. I want to have a perfect hand. Alright, they are all the counterspells, so I'm gonna tap my 2 white sources and cast Teferi. Yeah, resolves. A lot of cards in here, but what's important are the counterspells. Born Upon a Wind. Yeah, sure. Sure, bro. Show and tell. You're tapped out. Counterspell. You saw that one, though. You saw that. You knew that was gonna happen. Wow, poor you. Now I even get to put my counterspell back on top. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I think I'm okay.
Take action. And they're out. And they're out. Yeah. I don't think that's the line. I don't think that's a line, my guy. I don't think so. I think you have a way better chance at winning if you simply Veil of Summer and do it on your turn. Maybe your deck doesn't run Veil of Summer. I guess we'll never know, but yeah, this is why I counted Demonic Tutor here, because I don't know what that would have gotten. I don't know if that would have gotten a Born Upon a Wind, just to win instantly, or I don't know, maybe a Veil of Summer or something. In this situation, I counted it. I usually don't, but I had 2 counterspells, so I felt confident. The reason why I drew so many cards with the One Ring here, even though I really don't need to, is I just wanted to have a hand full of counter magic. I just wanted to sculpt my hand because obviously Supreme Verdict, Sunset Revelry, this Source of Plowshares, Lockdown, these are all dead cards in the matchup. They don't do anything. So yeah, yeah, pretty simple stuff. I bounce the One Ring back to my hand just to show them that I don't die to my own One Ring. And then I don't deck because I can cast Gaia's Blessing on my turn with my 2 white sources that don't counter spells. And yeah, I just make sure. And yeah, I know this doesn't, you know, actually prevent me from decking. It only puts 3 cards back in, but at 31 cards, I will find a way to kill them before they can do anything. So yeah, GG. Okay, we have Mana Drain, One Ring, but we have no white mana, so mulligan. Again, another hand with no white mana, but at least we can Lórien Revealed this time. I think we have to keep this. Put away Counterspell. I'm not going down to 5 cards. Playing blue, that's interesting. But yeah, again, I'm not going down to 5 cards. No. In Timeless, mulligan to 5 is basically conceding. Mono blue so far, very interesting. I wonder what they're playing. Mono blue scares me because mono blue usually plays Stifle, and if Lórien Revealed gets stifled, we just lose. Nice. Oh, Merfolk. I think I'm gonna counter this. I'm gonna counter that. I get mana next turn thanks to that. That lets me to Teferi maybe through a Spell Pierce if I'm lucky. I'm on with Merfolk. Okay, nothing's getting counted anymore. Should have waited. Oh, nice. Okay, I do get to Teferi through a Spell Pierce here. Pretty cool. Cool stuff. Shock that in. Play Teferi. Through a Spell Pierce. Yep. They're gonna have to double Spell Pierce this if they want this to get counted, which discards 2 cards. Trickster, that's fine. That just goes back to your hand. Divine Purge is really good. Really, really good, actually. Divine Purge is really, really good. Okay. Looking pretty good so far. Obviously, our counterspells are pretty horrible now. Yeah, sure. That's fine. Are you going to play a Trickster as well? Because you have to, because it's sorcery speed. Chalice on 1. That doesn't stop me. Interesting card in your deck, but doesn't stop me. Island Walk means I have to kill this thing or else Teferi dies. But what I can do is I'm allowed to... No, I can't source the Plowshares, so I actually have to Divine Purge here. Yeah, I have to Divine Purge. Chalice costs 2 more. You know, I have to Chalice for 4 to get it on 1. Cool tech, I like it, but it also shuts off your Spell Pierce, so interesting deck building choice. Not necessarily something I would do if I were you, but okay. I have to miss a land drop there, but that's okay. What does this do? This taps a creature. Okay, 2 Merfolk Tricksters, that's fine. That is fine. You can't Chalice on 0. Yeah, I mean, you can if you have another Chalice, but that doesn't stop me. At this point, I'm going to Brainstorm for a land. And I miss a land drop. That's fine, I guess. I guess I just have to live with that. Put back these 2 Planeswalkers. And I think... So this taps, and then they could give Island Walk. So I actually have to... So Teferi dies either way, no matter what I do, unfortunately. Unfortunately, Teferi dies either way. It's just unlucky. If I drew a land, I would be fine. But no matter if I Revelry or Swords, I needed another land to exile this thing. And unfortunately, I didn't find that. So Teferi is going to die here. Which is just so sad. It's like... I could obviously Brainstorm again. I think I will Brainstorm again. I don't want to miss my land drop. No, punished. It's just so sad that I have to miss land drop here. Like, okay, maybe they make a mistake and don't attack Teferi with both, but that would be really stupid of them. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know why they wouldn't. Actually, it doesn't even matter because they have that. Like, well, actually, no. If they attack Teferi with only 1, Teferi doesn't die, but there's no way they make that mistake. They just made the mistake. They just made the mistake, didn't they? Oh, wow, they made the mistake. Okay. Well, Teferi lives because of their idiocy, but... Wow, they made that mistake? That's such a that's such a big mistake, too. Now I get to Sunset Revelry and remove a card at instant speed. Yeah, they lose both their creatures, actually. That's really good. Kill 1. Block the other. Wow, that's so good. Teferi making Merfolk look really awkward. Yeah, double attack Teferi. It shuts down your entire deck. You have to double attack Teferi. They can Chalice on 1 again, but at this point it doesn't matter. Because, first of all, I'm already land screwed. Second of all, yeah, sure, Chalice on 1. That doesn't do anything, really. You're already in the lock, basically. I'm missing land drops, though, so that's their chance. That's their way back in this game, is me missing land drops. But no pressure on Teferi means Teferi is resolving. Merfolk costs money. Sure. Man, like, what the hell is... Like, Arena, please. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, why, Arena? I'm just gonna cast Narset. Sure. Whatever, man. Like, Arena is just being like that today, I guess. Oh shit, I shouldn't have gone Counterspell, but it's fine. Counterspell doesn't do anything against them because of their Cavern of Souls. Whatever, man. They attack Teferi for sure. At least Teferi doesn't die here. Oh, I can block? other Merfolk have Island Walk, not you, Master of the Pearl Trident. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Master of the Pearl Trident. That's not good for you. What are you? What do you do? Has indestructible as long as you control Merfolk. When you attack draw a card, other Merfolk have ward 1. Can we find a land, please? Thank you. Thank you. Big. What land do I get? Do I need 4 untapped mana or 3? View battlefield. I think I want to bounce with Teferi here. I want to bounce with Teferi. Is there anything? Oh, wait. I can just get back Sunset Revelry. Or do I get back... I can't do that because of Chalice. I can't get back Sources of Chalice. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I want to answer this. I definitely want to kill this. This costs how much? 3? Oh, wow. Okay. I know what we're doing here. I know what we're doing here. Divine Purge. Take action. Submit nothing. Divine Purge. Chalice now costs 6 mana. Isn't that fun? That's actually pretty funny, man. That's actually pretty dang funny. Yeah, just not being able to get anything through onto Teferi is just how we will win this game. I don't know what card can get them out, especially if they're not playing green. Chance Tidebinder, sure. There's no activated ability for you to counter. You can't draw additional cards. A land is good. I can Teferi tuck that thing. And then I have Teferi on the battlefield, and they have no instant speeded spells. I think that's what I want to do. Mystic Sanctuary.
No, God!
Put
No,
Divine Purge
God,
back on top.
please, no!
Because it's a pretty good card against
No!
you. And they're out.
No!
Okay, guys. Okay, guys. This is why my dear Tempo players, kill Teferi by all means. Kill Teferi Time Raveler by all means. Teferi does not let your deck play the game. Like, if they just attacked Teferi with both of their Merfolk Tricksters, Teferi was dead. Teferi would have taken 4 damage and died. They gave me the line of kill your lord, make it so Teferi doesn't die because they wanted to be efficient with damage. But if you're playing Merfolk, if you're playing Is It Tempo, if you're playing, I don't know what else, Simic Flash, please, if you're playing Dimir Rogues, Dimir Tempo, kill Teferi. Teferi must die, especially in a deck where you can only kill him with combat damage. You need to kill Teferi Time Raveler. So yeah, Teferi Time Raveler hard carried that game. But yeah, I mean, that's what he does. That's why he's in the deck. So, good games. Oh, and Divine Purge was amazing. Never seen Divine Purge be that good. Alright, we are back for the post-game wrap-up. As you saw those games, this deck, it takes control of the game. Like, while the High Noon deck controls the game by making it so that both players are limited to 1 spell a turn, this deck takes control of the game and just makes so your opponent is stuck with you having 11 cards in hand and a million counter spells and they can't do anything. This deck is amazing, really fun to play. If you're like me and you like making your opponents miserable, then maybe the High Noon deck is better. If you like going off and just being a Timmy and having the One Ring with 5 burden counters and drawing 7 cards a turn, then you might want to play this deck. Noticeable changes that I might make to this deck. I, in the end, realized that, yes, having 4 sweepers was good, but I ended up always having 1 too many temporary lockdowns, so like I would always either mill it with my Surveil lands, or I would discard it to hand size or whatever. You never know when you want to have that extra sweeper in the aggro matchup, but I was pretty consistently able to find one of my sweepers in the aggro matchup, so you could go down a sweeper. I don't mind Gaia's Blessing being the 61st card. It's just, call it a control guy thing. You could call this the control guy's blessing. it's gonna be like you're gonna see this in a lot of decks. Just 61st card Gaia's Blessing. It just works. Like especially when it's castable. Like it rarely comes up, but it rarely hinders you. Because most of the time you can either discard it to hand size off the one ring or put it back in your deck with Brainstorm. So it rarely hinders you in Timeless. Other things I noticed is that actually the One Ring in some games I played off recording. The One Ring, very interesting card because you kind of want 4 One Rings, not because it's a good card, because it's an answer to itself. Because like you really want to re-ring very often. Like oftentimes I'm winning the game, and the only way I could potentially lose this game is if the One Ring kills me, and then the One Ring ends up killing me. So yeah, 4 One Rings is a serious consideration. The only reason I'm not crafting 4 One Rings right now is because I have 4 Mythic Wildcards, and I'm crafting my sweet Prince Solitude. I can't wait for Solitude to be on Arena. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm not playing 4 One Rings right now. Once I have more Wildcards, I think I'm gonna brew with 4 One Rings. And then maybe you can cut back 1 Teferi. I don't know. Teferi is, I think, look, Teferi is the better win condition, because the One Ring doesn't win the game. The One Ring is the better engine. So in the mid game, being able to One Ring off of Managing was really cool. But then in the late game, you saw me, I believe in the first game, you saw me pivot onto Teferi as the win condition. So cool dynamic here. You could obviously go up to 4 Teferis, but I don't think that's smart. Although once Solitude comes out, Teferi becomes a card you can pitch to Solitude. Oh, I can't wait for Solitude to be on Arena. I really can't wait. It's going to be so good. Because Solitude also is just a creature that can attack and win the game. And Solitude gets pumped by Kaheera and can be in the Kaheera deck because it's an elemental. Solitude is going to change the game. Modern Horizons 3 is going to change the game. Again, let me know if you guys want to see Modern Horizons Timeless Rundown. And yeah, another thing, let me know if you want to see me live stream, because I've been thinking about live streaming on this channel, and I might as well. I can. I have the capability of doing so, and it's just more content for you guys. So if you guys want to see me live stream my control decks, I have a bunch of them. So yeah, just let me know in the comments. Tell me what you like. This deck was absolutely amazing. I'm actually really happy with Leyline Binding at the moment. Obviously the difference between Leyline Binding and Get Lost is that Get Lost can't get destroyed and can get looped with Mystic Sanctuary, and Leyline Binding makes so you can't have as many Mystic Sanctuaries. You can, obviously, because you could run I could, instead of doing Indatha Triome, I could go, let's say, Rogran Triome and Zagoth Triome. I could go 2 Triomes, right, to get a full blue Leyline Binding mana base. Or yeah, but I prefer having a Triome and a Surveil Land. I think that's the best way to run Binding. Triome plus Surveil Land. And yeah, for that reason, obviously less Mystic Sanctuaries. It didn't come up though. It kind of, there was one game where I didn't say it out loud, but I thought to myself, I wish I had 1 more Mystic Sanctuary, but it's okay. It really doesn't matter, especially if you have a One Ring already, or if you have a Teferi on the battlefield. You really don't need more Sanctuaries. And yeah, that's the deck. Counterspell, One Ring Teferi, beat them down with Kaheera, exile all their lands, win the game. Pretty simple stuff. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, leave comments. I read all my comments. I'll give you a heart. And let's open a pack to end it off. Alrighty, so we got an OTJ pack. I think it's almost time to start saving your money to buy Modern Horizons packs, because Modern Horizons 3 is a stacked set. That set is stacked. It has a lot of good cards. So yeah. So yeah, let's open it. Let's see what we get. Alright, uncommon bonus sheet. You hate to see it. Heartless Pillage. Target opponent discards 2 cards. If you attack stone, you get a treasure token. Oh my god, that's so bad. And then Wily Duke, Atian Hero. Whenever Wily Duke, Atian Hero becomes tapped, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Cool commando. Horrible card. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, I'm the Control Guy, and I bid you all farewell. See you next video. And